again, please.
Yes. So I'm going to record this segment because this is a how-to segment. And I think that my sending this segment to you might help in case you're like,
Thank
what did
you.
I say about hyperlinks? So
Yeah.
again, just to reiterate, the reason we create hyperlinks is a screen reader will read a link twice to a student who needs it or is using a screen reader. The way to remedy that is by clicking on the edit, then coming to this, click once. My style is I click in the middle, just so I make sure I grab the link, right? You don't need to highlight when you're doing this. Then you click on the button that's on the left that reads link options. And then on the right-hand side of the screen here, there are two boxes. One reads text, which is the text that's read in the screen, and the other one is the link. We leave the link alone because it's correct, right? So here in the text, we remove this, and so we'll type in something that's descriptive. How about Canvas? Oops. Canvas course sandbox at Los Medanos. Los Medanos. Okay, did I spell right? Yes. Okay. And so what that is, and then you see the yellow highlight? The
Mhm.
yellow highlight now shows you the hyperlink. The hyperlink is descriptive. As for some screen
Oh,
readers, all of the hyperlinks are read at the bottom. So they read the whole text and then they say hyperlinks. And then they read the hyperlinks. Canvas Course Sandbox at Los Medanos. Insight at Los Medanos. Student Services. So the thing is that if we say click here, then it will, at the bottom, it will read click here, click here, click here, click here.
okay.
For a
Okay.
student, that's not descriptive. They don't know what the heck that is, right? Or
Mhm.
link here. That doesn't tell them anything. But if we're descriptive, then a student will say, ah, that's the one I need right now. I need the technology services at Los Medanos. That's what I need now. Here you have this is properly linked, hyperlinked. And then here, quiz on the welcome letter. Do we do that? Typically, we won't link the quiz. You know, all we will do is going to say, please check the following items for completion. And then we will put in quiz on welcome letter, um, completion. Let me see, which can be found within this module. So that students know, just keep going. It's in this module, right? And then here, one of the things I've been asking folks to do is to remember the light blue highlight. This has been left there for you by the template designer, but students should not see the light blue highlight, and they should not see these greater than the less than symbols, you know. So here what we're going to do is we're going to have to highlight
Yes,
this,
undo.
and you can go to the icon. It's this one that looks like a T with an eraser. And if you hover over it, it should read, let me see, is it reading? No, it doesn't. Why? Because I clicked on it too many times. It should read clear formatting. There it is. Do you see clear formatting? So
Yes.
let me zoom out so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to click on that clear formatting. Now, because I clicked outside of that, I have to click again. I have to highlight. Another reason for that is that look how the highlighting looks like what it looks like when we highlight. So we
Yeah.
can see that. So we're going to click on that, clear formatting, and now it's gone. The other recommendation is that we're supposed to have, if we have a bullet, which is a list, lists comprise more than one thing, more than one item. So then we have to have at least two. The other thing that you might have here might be uh, a discussion. We'll just put that. You can put the title of the discussion here if you want. And typically, we also have them do an assignment. Assignment might be an easy assignment, like um, type out all the words in Spanish you already know. And just a
Yeah.
fun thing. And then you can say, fun assignment, test out all the words in Spanish you already know, right? Or for pharmacology, you might say, type up all of the prescriptions that you already have heard of. And this is just like a warm up, but by giving them during module one a quiz, a discussion, and assignment, then you can tell who are the three students who don't know how to upload an assignment. Who are the three students who couldn't figure out to click on the start quiz button, you know? And so, or the reply button for a discussion. So it starts to help you figure out who do you need to reach out to so that they don't fall behind just because they don't know the mechanics of Canvas. Yes. So I'm going to pause recording here. Uh, we're resuming this recording, and Eugenia will give you this recording. You're not with us yet. But to sort of explain this assignment, we do ask that you create a discussion that involves regular substantive interaction, student to student. Now, we do ask that you read all of the learning content that we give you before getting to that assignment, because first of all, if you don't open it, you can't unlock next week's module. You need to at least click on this. But I mean, if you're going to click on this, please just take a look at some of the recommendations we have for creating that sort of regular substantive interaction, or RSI. So we talk about students as unique contributors, students as active in choirs, students as designers, students as study buddies, as researchers, and then how students can maybe piggyback from the discussion board to interact with each other to be motivated. Watch the videos. And then here we have a Canvas guides on what are groups and how to create a group if you want to do that. In your discussion assignment itself, we have instructions, and so let me see. Oh, I jumped to, please do read all these pages. As you can see, we have content here that can help you create your assignments when they come up later. So let me go back. We do have the midterm we want you to participate in. Let me get to that assignment. This creating instructor parent presence. Again, another assignment for you and student here. So this is the discussion we're talking about. In
Mhm.
this discussion, you're going to tell your BEOI peers how brainstorming, what are you going to do? Here it is, your initial post, about 100, 200 words, so substantive. You're letting everybody know what kind of activity you're going to have. The discussion is the easiest one to create. You can create a discussion that's for your whole class. You can create a discussion that's for small groups if you want. And then you need to explain what unit this is for, what you're wanting them to learn, and what's the objective. What do you want them to connect to as you're brainstorming how to design the discussion? In this assignment, you're not yet creating the discussion, although you could. If you want to just create the discussion already, you could create the discussion itself. You can write all of this out, and then you can share a screen print of your instructor prompt, your discussion prompt for your student. So you could go the extra mile and just create that discussion, because eventually you'll have to share it anyway, at least with me. It's something I need to look at and grade. But here, what we're asking for is a brainstorm, for you to brainstorm those ideas. And that's pretty much this assignment. If you click on the top here, the three dots, click on that, it will show you the rubric. And the rubric, what it does is show you how we're grading this. So it shows you the initial post, what we're expecting to see there, and then the reply post and what we're expecting to see in your reply post for this discussion assignment. Okay, so I'm going to pause recording again. Here we go. This part of the recording is going to walk through how to create a new module. If you brought over a template with an introductory module, then you're good to go. But if you have to create your learning content module on your own, this is how you do it. You move your cursor to the top, you click on plus module or add module, anything that you create is always going to go to the bottom of the list. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to type in week 1. And that's week 1 module. And then here, you can put description of module or learning unit, maybe. Maybe that's what this is going to be, right? This one's not going to have a lock until typically week 1, we want students to come in right away. Now, if you don't want students to go to week 1 to start the content without first looking at the orientation, your syllabus, your welcome letter, all of that, then you can include a prerequisite. And if you click on prerequisite, it's going to show that the first thing they should do is first they need to look at the welcome module before they access the learning content module. And then we click on the bottom right where it says add module. Now you notice that now there's a module here, right? But it's empty. So this is what we do. Don't drag and drop files here ever. You know, this is Canvas did this here to help elementary school teachers or something. But we don't ever just drag and drop something there. We actually create content. So we're going to click on that plus button and I'm going to, and all this information is within our training course, by the way, so that it will show you how to do that. So we're going to click on the plus button there. And now it's going to ask us what we want to include. The default is add assignment, but that's not what we're adding. We're adding a page. So we're going to click on page. Then we're going to create a page. And that page, let me see, is going to be titled probably overview. Probably overview, objectives, and outcomes, right? That's going to be the first page. And let me see, did I have that over here? Oh, see, I see what I did. I had this over here instead of over there. That's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to refresh this tab here so that I can be in that. See right here, that's what I just created. And then here, what I'm going to try to do is just go to the BEOI, our course. And do you remember that I had that assignment open so I could remember what it was we were doing? And that assignment is in, and look, see, it's the same thing we have here. Instead of calling it week 3 or week 1, they called it module 3. I think it's redundant because these are obviously modules. So that's why I call them week 3 or week 1. Here, let's take a look at what it was. Student-to-student interaction, build learning content, creating, I'm not sure if it's this one here. Or maybe it is. Let me take a look at this assignment. Create new module. Yes, this is it. So create new module, and it tells us what we want to have here. Introductory page, module objectives. Okay. So I'm going to put this on the side here so that we can still view this. Or we can go all the way to, here we go. Link to course, module creation, all pages included, page titles. And then here, the assignment is actually asking for an introductory page. Do you see that? It says module introduction page. Okay. Because it's asking for an introduction page, we're going to create one. So here again, how do we do that? We click on the plus button, which is the add button. Instead of assignment, we're creating a page. So we select page. We create a page because we don't have it yet. And then here we're going to say introduction to week 1 learning content. And then here you can put the unit or if you want. You don't have to. Now, because the introductory page goes before the objectives page, we're going to move it up. Yes. But you notice that every new page I created went to the bottom, right? Next, we're going to go add page, and then we're going to see what else does the rubric tell us we need to add. Objectives page, we did that. Module objectives and outcomes. Not only do you have to create the page, you have to include the objectives and outcomes. That means you have to fill in that page. Can't be a placeholder. That page also has to have clear objectives and outcomes. So it's not just good enough to create the page, to put content in it, it also has to have the clear objectives and outcomes. So that one page takes up like 3 rubric criterias, right? So we want to make sure that that's very sharp. Next, we create learning content page.
Oh, this one created.
So here we're going to go ahead and we're going to uh, learning content. And then here, short unit, short title for what that learning content is. So we're not just going to put learning content and leave it like that. We can type in learning content. Sometimes I just say lecture on, you know, or whatever it is. Then we're going to add that item. So this is the learning content. And then here we're going to put, and actually I should edit this to make sure that it's clear that this is going to be, I'm going to put in parentheses, uh, instructor created content, right? And the short description there. And then I can see this. I'm going to edit again because this, I couldn't see it, but there's a need for space there. All right. The next one up, we're going to go all the way up to the top of our module. We're going to click. The next thing we're going to create is a page. Now, because Canvas already saw that we created 3 pages, it is not giving us the option for assignment anymore. I was like, oh, you want to create a page. I already know you. So we click on create a page. And then here we're going to put learning content. This one is going to be curated. So I'm going to put that in parentheses just to make sure it's clear it's curated. So if you're giving them a video on something, perhaps you're putting in there instead of curated content, you'll just put a video walkthrough of pharmacy layout. I'm not sure. I'm just making up stuff. Add item. Now we have our item that says learning content curated. Short title of that. Okay. What's the next thing that the rubric is asking for? It is asking for us to create publisher content, if using publisher content. What this means is that if you're using the publisher, you're going to make sure that you create a page that gives instructions to students on how to use the publisher content. Right. So for example, we're going to go add page, learning content, and then here we're going to say publisher. Now this is just short notes so that you know what you're supposed to put in here. But here the publisher, then you would put actually the title of the book, right? And then for the students, what you would give them is, oh, welcome. This week we're going to talk about this. Please read chapter 1 through 3 of our textbook. It will walk you through this and this and that. Take notes. You can use your notes on the quiz or take notes and study your notes. You will be quizzed later on this, or you will be asked later in this module to discuss the importance of, whatever it is. So that's what that is going to be. All right. Then next up, we have create a discussion. Now, this discussion should not be the welcome, icebreaker discussion. Why is that? Because we already did the welcome. We did that in orientation. This discussion has to be based on learning content. So we're going to add. Now, it's no longer a page, right? So we're going to use this little downward caret here to select discussion. Now there's a let discuss. That's one that's already in the orientation. And then there's this welcome to Spanish. That's also already in the orientation. So what we need to do is create a topic. And the topic will be week 1, Or, we could even front load it. It could be discussion week one, or we can say week one discussion on, and then you give them a descriptive title for that discussion. All right, so let me zoom out a little bit here so I can click add item. And so now there's a discussion. There are a couple of ways also we can really quickly see if we have pages, pages, discussions. Pages look like a little sheet of paper. Discussions look like two bubbles. The icon for that are two like talking bubbles or comment bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm looking, I'm like, did they create a discussion and I don't see a talking bubble? I don't even bother clicking on that. I'm like, they didn't create it. That's a zero right there. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
then next, I know. I like because that wasn't a discussion, right? So here, the next thing that we're asked to create is going to be, let's see here, an assignment. I can see on the rubric, it's asking me for the assignment. I'm going to create an assignment. And so I'm going to click on the plus add. And now I finally want an assignment, but it gives me the option for discussion. So I'm going to click down on that arrow and I'm going to select the assignment, which is at the top of that list, assignment. Now here, this course doesn't even have assignments, right? So we're going to create an assignment and we're going to give it a title. So we can title it whatever you want. We might say week one, and it might even be week one assignment. And then we give it this descriptive title. And I'm going to put this just in brackets so that that can be changed. We never leave anything the template designer leaves for us. We always change that. The other thing it's going to ask is for this assignment is that you create a rubric for the assignment. And the way you do that is when you click assignment, you edit, you have the instructions here. But not being in edit mode, you click on plus rubric and you add the rubric there. You don't have, you can't be in edit mode when you're creating the rubric, but you do have to be in edit mode to give your students instruction on what to do with the assignment. Yeah. All right. So then we're going to go back to the modules and let's take a look at what else we're being asked to create here. Let's see modules. There we go. Then if we go to the rubric after the assignment, we're asked to create a quiz. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go add. Now we're going to use a downward caret to click on quiz. There are two quizzes here. One of them is getting to know you survey. The other one is a Spanish orientation module quiz, which are fine, but those are not the quizzes that we're putting here. We're going to create a quiz and we can call this week one quiz, right? And then we're going to put the descriptive title of the quiz. Title. And then we're going to add item. Now for quizzes, when we actually create the quizzes, we click on that and then we go into edit and there's a two part to the quiz. The details part is this part where we have instructions, right? So students need to have instructions on what to do. How long is this quiz? How many attempts do they have? Uh, what should they have studied? What is this quiz about? And then once we have that, we can go scroll to the bottom. This is a graded quiz. It's part of an assignment. We always shuffle answers. If we don't shuffle answers, the default is that the correct answer is the first answer. So we always shuffle answers, or else they figure it out very quickly that the first answer is the correct one. Then we can give them a time limit. So you can give them a time limit. I always give them double whatever time it would take. If this quiz takes 60 minutes, I give them 120 minutes. So I'm just going to put that. Allow multiple attempts. Quizzes, I view them as homework and a chance for students to get as correct an answer as they can. I mean, clearly we're not there monitoring them. They can use their books, their notes, right? we should encourage them to do that. So this is really so they can be familiar with the terminology, with some of the concepts, right? But we shouldn't base midterm grade on the quiz because it's, I mean, not that your students want to cheat, but it's so easy to cheat for this. So that's why the hard assessments, the heavy assessments, should be in assignments where they have to provide something authentic that shows that they know, right? Um, and so I give them multiple attempts. I always keep the highest score, and then I typically only allow 3 attempts. The first attempt, sometimes they mess up because they didn't realize that they already clicked started and they ran out of time. They got disrupted, their Wi-Fi went out. First attempt is always a throwaway. I see it. Second attempt, they should have known what they were doing. I always recommend in the instructions here. Make sure that you're in a quiet space. Make sure that you tell family and friends that you're taking a quiz and you need that it's a time quiz and that you need no interruptions, all of that, right? So I always give them like, make sure this, make sure that before you sit down to take this quiz. All right. So then, because this is a learning tool, then I say here, let students see the correct answers. I do only after their last attempt, right? So I don't let them see the correct answers after the first attempt because then there's no studying after that, right? So only after the last attempt. You can show one question at a time. Let's say that I had a question that said, who were the civil rights movement leaders, you know, in the 1960s? And then my very next question says, describe how Martin Luther King Jr. was an important civil rights leader. Well, my second question answered the first question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm doing something like leading questions, then I only show one question at a time. So that my second question doesn't answer the first question. So that you can do that. If you're not going to do that, you can just let them all have all the questions at the same time. And then here the sign. I always give them a due date. And then I typically for quizzes give them till the end of the week, till Saturday. So I give them until Saturday to take that quiz. And so, for example, our first day of classes here is the 27th. So she may decide to quiz them very quickly on the Wednesday, and then she might close the quiz on the Saturday. Let's see, February. Oh, until due date, until why doesn't it like this? January 23rd. Okay, let me see. Oh, her class doesn't begin then. Lock date cannot be after the course ended. Oh, the reason for this is that it's our BEOI course, and that's why it's like doing that. So it's thinking of this as being the BEOI training course. But okay, but definitely due dates until dates. Second part of this quiz is going to be in the creation of this is going to be the questions tab. So you have to scroll all the way up, click on questions, and then you add a new question. So the question has two-part save. The new question, you add a new question here, you put the question prompt here, and then the correct answer, look, is the first one, multiple choice. So correct answer, wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer, right? For the wrong answers, you can give them, oh, good attempt. Go back to page so and so. Or good attempt. Please reread that paragraph that talks about blah, blah, blah. So you can put suggestions there. The two-part saving is that you need to update the question here, and then you need to save here. That's the two-part saving. For every question, you need to update, which is save the question, and then you have to update here. Everything still has to be accessible, right? And so what I'm going to do is let me see. I'm not going to update this question here, but I am going to save this because, I put a little thing in there that says instructions for students. All right, now that's the quiz. We'll go back to our modules. The next thing we're asked to do after the quiz is to include a conclusion page. It's like a summary page. It tells students, kudos, great job. These are the things you should have completed this in this weekly module. Notice how our training course has conclusion pages, right? So you can mimic what we have provided in our own training. So what we do is we go to plus. We don't want to put an assignment. This is a conclusion page. So we select page, we create a page, and what we can do is week one conclusion or summary. You can use either of those. And there it is. So this is what a learning content module should look like, a typical one. It can have a lot more learning content. The learning content can be shorter. We suggest even if you have like a long thing you're going to include, chunk that out into three separate pages, just so that it's shorter and students don't get what we call cognitive overload by having to read for 2 hours on one page. So shorter, and that way it's more specific to the content they're trying to learn. And that's how you create a module. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I am going to stop share and try to find my recording and pause.
For. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and get this knocked out.
Yes, and that's a
But
great idea. And the reason that you can take the fifth week extension is that you're not teaching online in the spring. So even for folks who are teaching late start courses, they
mhm.
have to already be approved by week 4 if they're going to teach online this semester that's coming up in what, 2 weeks? And so
Yeah, I saw
that's
that caveat.
yeah, that's the reason for it. And I know it sounds a little bit draconian. It's just that these courses are on the schedule of classes, and everybody needs to make sure that they're kind of like approved to
Yeah,
be
totally
able
understandable.
to teach. And so thank you for that. All right, well, I'm going to hop on off because I do have another meeting a little tiny bit, and I
Okay.
need to get some coffee.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you so much.
Very selfish
Have
reasons.
fun, Joe.
Yeah. All right. I
Enjoy.
will.
All right.
Enjoy and good luck, everyone.
You
Yeah,
too.
Okay.
thank
Safe
you.
Have a
travels.
good day.
You
You're
too.
Okay.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.